Welcome back, everybody, to the Fire Your MD Now radio show for the first installment. Fridays. That's right. I'm going to be filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden every single Friday, 2 to 4 my time here in Alberta, Camrose, Alberta. Very snowy, very cold, about to get a lot warmer and very slushy. And the car washes are going to make a lot of money in the next little while. Same thing every year. We seem to have a little bit more snow than last year, but enough weather talk. We have a brand new call-in line here on the show. If you haven't been listening, it's 844-DR-Glidden, 844-DR-Glidden. Now for the numeric version of that, 844-374-5433. Once again, that's 844-374-5433. Now, knowing that I'm going to be doing this show every Friday, I end up going through a whole lot of material and busting my brain to think about things that I can talk about on this show. And the truth of the matter is, there's actually more going on than one could possibly cover in 2 hours. I mean, things are crazy. And at the same time things are crazy, hope brightens. I mean, things are getting worse. Things are getting better. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Now, I'm going to come to you today with a lot of different stories, some personal things that I've been dealing with here just locally that absolutely pertain to what we're doing with longevity. And before I do that, though, I would like to give just a couple of shout-outs. My best friend Joe called me about 20 minutes before this show started to pray for me, and that's how you know you got a good friend. I came from a family that was very religious. I was forced to go to church when I was a kid, which I absolutely hated, and I did everything I could to throw a wrench into the works. I would sit at the back of the church. I would wear a Guns N' Roses t-shirt and listen to my Walkman. You probably haven't heard that word in a long time. But I fought it every step of the way, but the fact is my family cared about me a lot, and they were trying to instill some values in me. And while I bucked it every step of the way, I actually listened, and I learned a lot of things that carried me through life. Now, I know that we have a lot of Benny Hinn followers listening to the show these days since Dr. Joel Wallach appeared on his show. And I was listening to Dr. Peter Glidden yesterday on Metaphysical Thursday talking about things outside of the physical that we cannot explain that happen all the time. And I'd like to give you just one of those with me. Now, as I said, I was a rotten kid, and I was smart, but I was rebellious and kind of stupid at the same time. But I remember clearly when I was a young guy, I was at church with my parents, and there was this lady who was known to be a prophet of sorts. She would have dreams and they would come true and things like that. And one day she came to me and she said that she had a dream about me. And she said that I was walking through a field of wheat. And as I walked along, people were springing up behind me and following me out of the wheat. And as I walked, there was innumerable multitude of people following me out of the wheat. Now, at the time, I was a kid, and I had no appreciation for anything of any substance, and I was like, yeah, right. And, you know, as circumstances go, long story short, I'm on a radio show broadcasting to the whole world today, telling people to get out of the wheat. And I had a grandmother that prayed for me constantly because I was the worst kid. So my family put a lot of attention into trying to trying to help me out and find my way in life. And through courses of events, I found longevity. I have a great wife. I have great kids. I have the best family that anybody could ever ask for. And I know I said it last show, but I'd like to thank them once again. Here in Alberta, we got Dr. Joel Wallach, the man, the myth, the legend. Well, I shouldn't say myth. He's actually real. Dr. Joel Wallach, Thursday, March 27th, West Edmonton Mall, Gold Room at 7 o'clock. Now, if you've never heard of West Edmonton Mall, we got bragging rights to the biggest shopping center in the world here in Edmonton, Alberta. Go online and check it out. There's a lagoon running down the middle of the mall with a full-size replica of a Spanish galleon. There's a roller coaster. There's a wave park. There's just a million things to do at West Edmonton Mall. And if you're in the Edmonton area or anywhere in Alberta for that matter, come to West Edmonton Mall on Thursday, March 27th. Bring your family, spend a day shopping or going on rides or swimming or whatever at West Edmonton Mall, and then prepare to be blown away by the presentation of Dr. Joel Wallach. Friday, March 28th, Sherwood Park Community Center, 7 o'clock p.m. just outside of Edmonton, little suburb of Sherwood Park. And then Saturday, March 29th, Camrose Regional Exhibition Center, and that is a Saturday at 2 o'clock. We hope to see you there. Now, I've had a really interesting week. When you start really getting involved with longevity, you're talking to people about some pretty personal things. Health issues, deaths in the family, things like that. And I would like to talk for a moment about, and I'm not going to mention any names out of respect for the family's privacy, but there was a guy here in Camrose, and this guy was one of the best musicians. He could take a harmonica and make that thing wail. I mean, this guy was the best blues harmonica. He had a whole rig. He had a bunch of different harmonicas. He had microphone that he could put distortion through an orange crate amplifier and just make that puppy sing. And I actually had the privilege of getting on this stage with this guy quite a few times and playing music. Well, I had a guy, I kind of lost touch with him. I didn't talk to him for a long time. But I was recently contacted by a man here in Camrose that wanted to get his hands on some longevity products, and it turns out he was the brother of this guy. Now, I learned through his brother that he had died recently, and the more I listened to what happened, the more impressed upon me how important this job that we do is. Let me just get into it. This well-respected, well-loved member of our community, excellent musician, excellent husband. He had a hard time swallowing. He had something in his throat. He had a hard time swallowing. So what do? You go to your doctor, right? And they ran a scope into him. And when they did that, they tore a hole in this guy's esophagus. Tore a hole in it that previously was not there. Well, don't worry, we got that figured out. They sent him home and told him to drink Boost. Yeah, Boost. For a condition that he did not have before he went to his doctor. Well, guess what? That Boost went through the hole in his esophagus. It filled his chest cavity, got infected. He was rushed to surgery in Edmonton. They removed part of his lung. Then they put him on chemo. Endless series of x-rays. They radiated this man and he died. Really good man. Family torn up. They lost something that they can never replace. Now, it just seems to me if I was a professional driver and I accidentally ran over somebody, bare minimum, I would be facing manslaughter charges, which could very well put me in jail. But the MDs get a pass, don't they? Oh, you did your best. Sometimes the family will even thank them. Thank you. Oh, you did what you could. Thank you so much. It's awful. It's really awful what's happening all around us. Since I got involved with this, I can't tell you how many times I've ran into people that had the wrong kidney removed. The wrong kidney removed. I mean, if you're going to go in for one of these surgeries, you best get out a Sharpie and draw some instructions on yourself as to which organ is the right one to remove, if that even is, if you can even say that that's such a thing, the right organ to remove. But that's their answer. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in your ability to heal yourself. They just believe in digging into you and radiating and burning and drugging. When is it going to stop? And how can you even trust them? I got a story out of RT News, and this headline says it all. Doctors warn new FDA-approved painkiller is deadly dangerous. Think about that. Even the MDs, this is going too far for them. A new painkiller set to hit the market in March is coming under heavy fire from doctors and lawmakers, warning of its powerful ability to kill. Although the opiate Zahydra was ultimately approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, that endorsement went against the recommendation given by the agency's own advisory panel. I'm going to get into this more after this break. Mike Phillip on Fire Your MD Now. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to another live edition of Mike Phillip Fridays on Fire Your MD Now Radio. We just treated you to another encore presentation of the first segment of the first Friday that I did the show as a regular Friday guest. And we won't be doing that again in the future. I think we played it enough. Call in line 1-844-Dr. Glidden, or numerically speaking, 1-844-374-5433. That's 1-844-374-5433. Now, don't put your pen down, because if you want to talk to somebody about getting involved with longevity, if you got your health is suffering, if you got a child that's in pain, if you got something going on and you would like to talk about it and see if there's any options available, teamglidden.ca is there for you. That's 1-800-705-6892. 1-800-705-6892. That's teamglidden.ca. Now, what does hanging around with teamglidden.ca get you? Well, I'm going to tell you. We do all kinds of really cool things. We're all in. We're not going to sign you up with a bunch of products and leave you twisting in the wind, and you got nobody that you can call, you got nobody to get involved with. And if you're interested in building a business, we are looking for you. If you want to supplement your income, even if you just want to get your products for free, we're all about that too. Because here's the deal, don't poo-poo the money. All right, if you're making money off this, that means there's a whole lot of people out there that are living a better life because you talked to them in the first place. And now I'm going to give you another example of the kind of stuff we do. A few weeks back, I was at a coffee shop called Fiona's. I was talking to the owner, Pat. They got a great caramel chino, and the Highland grog is, it's absolutely excellent. If you're in Camrose, go down to Fiona's and have a Highland grog. We got talking about alternative health, so-called, and it turns out that her dad was going down with Alzheimer's. So I got talking with her about some different things that we do. Long story short, I ended up hooking her up with a can of Tangy Tangerine. Now, the more we talked, the more interested she was in this whole longevity thing. And so what ended up happening is now we meet down at that coffee shop. I bring a big old TV, hook up my computer, and we watch the live Q&As and webinars with Dr. Glidden. Anybody that wants to can come in and watch them. So, we're going to have people coming in with all kinds of different health problems, or just people they know, or people that feel good right now and want to keep it that way. And I'm going to be getting sign-ups off that. I'm going to be getting them off this radio show. Now, here's the deal. I got to put them somewhere. Okay, I can't clump them all into one category. You join us, and we're going to build a powerful organization. We're going to share ideas. We're going to get you DVDs. I got my uncle takes them to work, shows them to people at work. And another guy in our downline does the same thing. We are bringing Dr. Wallach to town, Dr. Joel Wallach, Thursday, March 27th, West Edmonton Mall, Gold Room, 7 o'clock. Friday, March 28th, Sherwood Park Community Center at 7 o'clock. Saturday, the 29th, 2 o'clock in my town, Camrose, at the Regional Exhibition, and he will be in Calgary on the 30th. Now, we've brought Dr. Glidden to town several times, became good friends with the guy, and I ended up hosting this radio show. But my point is, if you want to get involved with an active bunch of people, and you don't want to be just by yourself taking your products and nobody will show you what to do, nobody will tell you how to take them, well, that's going on a lot. You just call Longevity and buy a bunch of product. They don't know where to put you. Well, this is an avenue that you can take. TeamGlidden.ca, 1-800-705-6892. We're ready to talk to you. If there's a voicemail, leave one and we will get back to you. I guarantee it. Dr. Joel Wallach, West Edmonton Mall, Sherwood Park, and Camrose, 27th, 28th, and 29th. Now, the other night when we were at this coffee shop, like I said, I hooked up the owner with a can of tangerine, told her how to give it to her dad. And when we were in there talking with everybody, I asked her how he was doing. After one day on the tangerine, they recognized a huge boost in his cognitive abilities. She said he was getting back to the same old person that he was. Was that the tangy tangerine working that fast? I'd like to think so, because she said she hadn't seen it like that in a long time. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. It is Friday, March 21st, 2014. This is the third edition of Mike Phillip Fridays. We're going to open up the phone lines in a bit here. I want to talk a little bit more about what happened the other night, but after that we're going to go to Bishop Brown. Is that a cool name or what? I mean, is this guy a bishop or is that his name? Anyways, we were at Fielding's Coffee Shop, and I was talking to Pat, the owner, about her dad. She was seeing dramatic improvements in his cognitive functions, playing cards, joking around, being himself after one day on the Tangy Tangerine. Coincidence? I don't know. I don't really believe in a coincidence. So then she realizes that a whole lot of the people in the room are already longevity distributors. She didn't know that. And so she's asking them what happened with them. Well, I mean, everybody in the place had a story to tell. One lady was a hairdresser for a lot of years. My aunt, actually. She was a hairdresser for a long time. And her legs hurt, her back hurt. She had carpal tunnel syndrome. She couldn't do it anymore. She went and did something else, and we got her back on the longevity. She ended up cutting hair again, and she's absolutely fine. No pain, no problems whatsoever. Feels good. My wife, Jennifer, we had her on the products for about 2 years now. And I got to say, there's a little bit of fine-tuning that goes on with this whole process. You'll see results right away in 90% of the cases, but it can take some time figuring out what products work for you and your body, because everybody's different, right? I mean, she experienced probably about a 50% reduction in pain fairly shortly right off the bat, but she would have problems still when it got cold, or the weather would shift, and this is Alberta, Canada, and it's always cold, and the weather's always shifting, so she was having problems with that. Well, I got to tell you, after a time, we ended up getting her on the HGH Youth Complex and the Immortalium. Now, I cannot say enough about the Immortalium. This is my second bottle, and I just feel absolutely great, and I felt good before. But I tell you, the Immortalium is the next step. Now, I want to give a big shout-out to Joe and Scott. Hey, Wendy at work. And with that out of the way, let's talk to Bishop Brown in Tennessee. Are you there, Mr. Brown?
Yes, I am. Archbishop William Brown. How you doing, Doctor?
Archbishop William Brown, I'm doing good, but do not call me a doctor. This is Mike Phillip. I'm a longevity distributor, and I'm a radio announcer. Dr. Glidden wanted to change things up a little bit for the show, and that's where I come from. What would you like to talk about today, sir?
Well, I'm a diabetic, and I just had a surgery about a month and a half ago on my right shoulder. It was a bone spur. And right through the process of the recovery and the inflammation began to happen in my left arm. Now I have a pinched nerve. I went to the doctor. They wanted to give me a cortisone type shot. They didn't give it to me because my diabetic blood sugar glucose numbers was a little high. So I'm really concerned about this. I'm in a lot of pain. I can't sleep at night. It's uncomfortable. So I'm just a bumbling mess right now.
Well, are you ready for some good news?
Give me some good news.
I got the good news, man. Well, let's deal with one thing at a time here. First of all, with the blood sugar. As far back as 1957, Dr. Walter Mertz figured out that you could reverse blood sugar issues in mice with chromium. Okay? Now, Dr. Wallach did a bunch of messing around with that and figured out that cinnamon, chromium, and vanadium in your body will help your body to adjust on its own. Remember, we don't cure anything. We just give the body what it needs. And we got a product called Sweeties that's included in a healthy blood sugar pack. And that Sweeties is there to support and promote the healthy structure and function of your natural systems for your blood sugar levels. Now, the bone spur, that just screams calcium to me. Now, with that healthy blood sugar pack, you're going to have a product in there called OsteoFX. All right? And then that's going to be your calcium and magnesium and extra vitamin D in order to get everything working together. And I predict that your heal time will double and you won't see any more bone spurs. Now, here's the deal with having a calcium deficiency. You're lucky that you found out through a bone spur because it could have shown up in heart problems or other areas. You know what I mean? And we want to avoid that. But knowing that there's a calcium deficiency in the first place, you want to protect your kidneys. You want to protect your thyroid. You want to protect your heart. And that's what the beautiful thing about all this is. It's all inclusive. The 90 essential vitamins, minerals, and amino and fatty acids just make your body start chugging on all cylinders, even if you were running on two. And that has been my experience. So, and also with that, I would throw in a bottle of plant-derived minerals. Now, who directed you to this show, Bishop Brown?
Miss Brown.
One at a time, please. Okay, does she know how to hook you up with some products?
I believe she does, yes.
All right, how much do you weigh, boss?
I weigh 198, about 200 pounds, 5'11". I had a heart attack 2 years ago. It was a heart attack that didn't have to crack the chest. They put in 6 stents in my heart. Everything from my cardiologist says is going well now. But I believe because I hadn't been on any type of vitamin D nor milk because of my diabetes for over 6 years now.
Well, here's the deal. The check engine light is on. That's a warning. So, I mean, you're a lucky man that you have this friend to help you out and point you in this direction. And this is the kind of stuff I like to hear because at one point my health was so bad and you know, I was pushing away and going to work and doing what I had to do because let's face it, you have to But I was heading for a breakdown, and I knew it, and so was my wife, and so were a lot of other people in my family. I'd really like you to try 2 healthy blood sugar packs and 2 bottles of plant-derived minerals. If you can afford it, throw in 2 bottles of Ultimate Selenium. You got this all written down?
Yes.
All right, now put your friend on the phone. I want to talk to her a little bit.
It's Midday.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Good. How did you find this guy? Old friend of yours?
No, he's a rep of mine. He reached out to him, so we're going to hook him up.
That is awesome. Boy, you call into this show more than anybody. You're really active. You've seen a lot of great recoveries, I'm guessing, hey?
Yep.
Right on. Well, thanks for taking care of your community and your friends. We're going to let you go, and I'm going to leave you with that. And that is the deal, folks. That's how it's done. That is how it's done. Now, here's another interesting little... the other day, I was looking through the paper, and I saw an ad for the Alzheimer's Caregiver Support Group, which was going to be going on the very next day in my town. And I thought, maybe I could go over and just yak with them a little bit about what we've found to be the case with it, based on Dr. Wallach's research. And so I phoned this lady, and I just told her I'd like to come in and talk. And she says, well, I can't authorize a speaker unless I get approval from the Alzheimer's Society. Sorry, I stumbled over the word there. I don't even like saying it. We have to get approval from Red Deer before we can have any speakers. And I said, I don't want to be a speaker. I don't need to stand up in front of the room at a podium and give a dissertation on it. I'll just sit and talk with you guys about what we've found. And if you'd like some options or something you can try, I would be glad to discuss them with you. Well, she did not want to hear none of it. She got mad. She said, from our position, Alzheimer's is a degenerative disease, and you don't come back from it. I said, so you just meet every second and third Thursday of the month and talk about how hopeless everything is? And pat each other on the back and say you're doing fine because it's getting worse? Nothing's going to get better. And that's your support group? It doesn't sound like support to me. And then somebody comes along and says there might be a better way. Your body was made to work. Your brain was made to function. And you get angry. Well, she says, you got to talk to Red Deer. I said, fine, give me the number of the person in Red Deer. She gave it to me. I called Red Deer. Same thing. This lady says, you are not legally allowed to say that you can cure Alzheimer's. And I said, I didn't say I could cure Alzheimer's. The human body is made to work. You are made to work. You're not made to break down at 25 years old. If you get the raw materials in, the rest will take care of itself. And we make it sound easy, but it's not always. You might have financial problems. There might be barriers, cultural. And the fact is, this works. In just about all cases. It's rare that I ran into anybody that didn't get any effect whatsoever, but I have serious doubts as to whether they were following the instructions in the first place. So this lady in Red Deer with the Alzheimer's Society, she says, I got to get approval from Ontario before you can speak to a group in Camrose. Can you believe how locked down information is? It's unreal. These people, they're scared to talk to you. I could lose my job for this. So it's amazing. I mean, what's your job if nobody's getting better? Your paycheck is meaningless. You're just preparing people for the worst eventuality and taking all hope away from them. Well, I'm here to tell you there's a better way, and I'm constantly looking for it. I'm constantly trying different things. Now, here's another thing that never ceases to amaze me is how many people know more than Dr. Wallach. They know better.
I met a naturopath once, and he's a friend of mine, and I surfed around the internet, and I take my coconut oil every day. And don't tell me about vitamins. Vitamins, I already know. And then I meet a lot of people who, it never surprises me how many know more than Dr. Glidden. Dr. Glidden practiced for 25 years and then went over to doing what Wallach was talking about, and it was a big game changer for him, and he was licensed. So if you're out there listening and you think you know a lot, you probably don't. You can surf the internet all day. You can surf it for 50 years and your head will be spinning more by the end of it than it was when you started, because the well is poison. There's so much crap information. Every time I talk to somebody these days about nutrition, they've got just huge amounts of bad information, but they're convinced and their health is in the toilet. Well, this has all been established. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Glidden, and we're going to come back to Ronaldo from Joyzy after this. Eye of the Tiger, baby. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden. We're back. TeamGlidden.ca, 1-800-705-6892. Come and hang out with the cool kids. Now, after the top of the hour, guess what? Brand new guidelines for adults to use statins. Yeah, that's right. They moved the goalpost again. They figure about half of the U.S., but we're not going to talk about that right now. We're going to go over to New Jersey and talk to Ronaldo. Do I got that right, and are you there?
Yeah, are you doctor?
I'm not a doctor, but I'm better than some. How are you doing?
No, because I was talking to one of your distributor and asking question and said he gave you your number. I don't know.
Listen, Dr. Peter Glidden regularly hosts this show, okay? I'm on every Friday. I'm also a longevity distributor. Why don't you run your question by me and we'll see if we can take it apart. And if it's too much for me, then you can call back on Monday or I can point you to some resources. Why don't we give it a shot?
What time on Monday?
3 to 5 Central.
What's your first name, sir?
I'm Mike. This is Mike Phillip filling in for
Mike.
Dr. Glidden.
Okay, Mike. One question.
Let's hear it.
There are a lot of supplements around, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one is the best. Maybe some, you know, you read the label and they say it's thing like that. And that's it. So what's the difference between you and the other supplement company?
All right, well, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown here. Dr. Joel Wallach, in his research, set out to make the most highly absorbable products that there are, okay? Calcium is very hard to absorb. Most calcium off the store shelf is crap. You might absorb maybe 14% of it. Okay, now my friend Dr. Peter Glidden, before he got into this line of work, he actually sold high-grade supplements that only doctors could buy. Okay, that was his job. It wasn't even available to the general public. And he's gotten better results with these supplements than those. Now, here's the other deal. What you get with longevity is the recipe. The recipe is what matters. Okay, if you get too much omega-3 or omega-6, one's going to cancel the other out, and you're going to have some problems. If you get too much copper without the right amount of selenium, one's going to cancel the other out. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It's all about appropriate mix. It's recipe, man. Am I making sense to you?
Okay, last question and very important.
Well, no, one more thing. You hold on to your question. I got one more question for you. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
With other supplements out there, if you send somebody to go buy them, is that company going to pay you?
No.
Well, longevity will if you work your way up with it. I buy about $450 worth of longevity products a month. Haven't paid for them in about 2 years.
Okay, Mike.
No joke. Now let's hear your second question.
I'm a diabetic for 15 years now.
Type 2?
And I was impressed by Dr. Wallace in the YouTube that he can cure somebody type 2 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, some people have responded to it really, really fast. Now, what did your, in fact, there's this girl in the town I live in here, and I just recently found out that she was shifting from type 2 to type 1. She was, having huge spikes in her numbers, and she was having to go in and get insulin shots. It was already starting. And so, these people they could not afford to get any products. So I added extra to my auto ship, and I actually gave it to them for free and said, try this, told them about the diet. And the last time I talked to her, she was very excited. She's sleeping better, and her blood sugar levels are straightening out. She has had to go for an insulin shot since, but things are getting better rapidly. And that was about 2 weeks ago. And I didn't even have the full healthy blood sugar pack. So we're going to come back to you after this hard break, Ronaldo. Mike Phillip filling in for Dr. Peter Glidden, back after this.